Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the Great Millstone Camp here in DC, back for another video. But first and foremost, call hello Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakahakwadash. And of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways, week in and week out, loading up their works in the forms of videos, all right, that go out and help assist us out there on the highways and byways and are there for the edification, primarily for the hopeful elect of our people, but there for everyone to see. All right, so there should be no mystery. But you know, you have your detractors wherever and whatever you might do. All right, so that's that. They're never going to get it. Oh well. All right, but you can't say that we didn't do what we were commanded to do, and that's to go out there on the highways and byways, all right, and you know, we plant the seed. It's up to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit to for it to grow, you know, to water and to grow it. But again, all right, these things are there. So many videos. You have no excuse, therefore, all right, because time is growing short, all right, and this is, hey, you gotta, what we do first and foremost is tell you to repent. This is a prerequisite, all right, you gotta repent, and this, of course, who can repent? It's only the Israelites, all right. Here's the copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair uses are use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, so this video that I'm going to be discussing here has to do with everything that you eat here. It's so hard to maintain your health, all right, and again, this is on purpose. If you'll notice, other countries have banned certain ingredients that are in our food, and America is an experiment. How can we kill people without them knowing it? And we do it, and we make things so addictive because of the chemicals and other things that they put in the food, and then you blame the people that you poison for being poisoned, and for their as a consequence for their health issues. Some demonic shit. But this is where we are. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the video. You'll see what I mean. This is Echo TV. This says you will never eat Burger King again. All right, and a lot of this, of course, is because people have become so, what's the word I want? You want it now. All right. You've got this, what's the phrase? That gummit escapes me. Instant gratification. All right, and this is what you were through all the, actually essentially brainwashed through all the media over the decades. You know, when I was growing up, you didn't have these issues. And then this is how this devil works through gradualism. So let's go ahead and roll the video, and you'll see what I mean. For the simplest of items, you would think, and then there's so many chemicals in them. Why?
Inside of their foods. And we've talked about this recently, specifically focused in on McDonald's. But today, we're going to be diving into the Burger King chain and seeing exactly what's inside of their foods. I think you're going to be surprised to see what the worst thing that they have actually is. As we dive into this one, I'm having my morning coffee. Let me know what you're drinking alongside of me as we watch this video, and thank you guys so much for subscribing. Now let's dive in.
5 items: a Whopper, a Royal Spicy Chicken Sandwich, the French fries, a High C Freezy because they didn't have a strawberry, and a chocolate milkshake. In the bun, of this burger, there is an ingredient that is banned in the European Union, in the UK, in Australia, all over the world. This bun ingredient is banned, but it's allowed in the United States. At the end of this video, you're going to be asking yourself, why does anybody even eat this stuff? But I get it. It tastes good. It's fast. It's reasonably cheap. This cost me $24 for all this food. But listen, here's the deal. I'm going to show you this at the end of the video. For $24, you could go to Safeway, you could go to Walmart or Target and get real foods and make a burger. You could make potatoes. You could make milk with honey. And you could eat a lunch that's far healthier than this for a fraction of the cost. It's going to take a little more time in preparation, but you're going to be way better off in the long term. So
the problem that a lot of people have is it's not as fast, although fast food is not as fast as it has been in the past. It's not as healthy. Maybe you don't like the taste of it as much, but it's going to be a lot better for you. I mean, well, the Burger King food is what's not as healthy. I also believe that it's really not so cheap. $25 for that meal is quite expensive.
Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the Whopper, the classic Burger King
Everyone loves the
hamburger.
Whopper.
It's flame broiled. The guy at the checkout was really nice. He confirmed the beef patty is 100% beef. They don't cook the beef patty in seed oils, but if you look at the ingredients on the website for the Whopper, the salt and pepper seasoning they use actually contains seed oils. I don't know why a salt and pepper seasoning needs to contain canola oil. This is a 100% beef patty, flame broiled, so not cooked in seed oils, but the salt and pepper seasoning they use on this actually contains canola oil. But
it doesn't really look so appetizing when he deconstructs it like that.
This isn't even the worst of it, guys. We're gonna get into it. So that's the patty. First thing we've got on the patty are these pickles and ketchup. Pickles should be cucumbers and salt and vinegar. These have 9 ingredients, guys. These pickles are cucumbers, salt, and vinegar, plus calcium chloride, preservative, sodium benzoate, preservative, often polysorbate 80, which is a type of emulsifier.
We saw the same type thing in the pickles from McDonald's as well. They also were, there's no reason to put all this extra stuff in just the pickles.
The texture, and there are often artificial colors in these pickles. The problem here is that all of these ingredients are things that your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize.
Yeah.
And if you look at the research, all of these can potentially be harmful for humans. This is an experiment. We don't know what these things do in the human body, and that's the problem. Then we've got onions. Those are pure onions, thankfully. We've got some lettuce. That's pure lettuce. And we've got some tomatoes. Those are pure tomatoes. That's all good.
Okay.
And then you can see this sort of Whopper sauce here, which is a mayonnaise along.
Think about that. Pickles. Something as simple as pickles, you got to add extra harmful ingredients at that. But this goes to show the demonic nature, all right, of the people ruling over us. Children. At such an early age, you've got parents that are so caught up in, well, I say parents because I'm giving, again, social engineering. So a lot of the time when it comes to Jake, I can't give you a number or percentage, but usually it's going to be single parent. So you're busy going to and fro, got you going from pillar to post, and what's the most convenient thing to do? And there they got you. All right. I mean, it says well, let's just get the scripture. Hold on. Let's see which one I want to use. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go to Psalms. Hold on. Let's see. All right. This is Psalms chapter 64. All right. I'll start at 4. It says, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. All right. They encourage, because they have no fear of the Most High or Yahweh Shai. All right. Because these people have a godlike complex. And those at the top actually know who we are. So this is the way, another slick way of them trying to do away with us. All right, suddenly they do shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily, and this is a snare, a trap. All right, they say, who shall see them in their arrogancy? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. The mind is deep. To concoct all these poisonous chemicals, to do all the research, all right, and think about that, all right, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But this is who we're dealing with, all right? It says, shoot. Let's look at that. All right. Yara. Strong's H3384. All right. Shoot arrows. Throw water. Shot through. All right. To instruct, to teach. All right. They encourage. Let's go here. All right. Kazakh. All right. Strong's H2388. All right. Strengthen the hands. All right. To make strong. Bold. They encourage themselves to substitute these words, and it's perverse. All right? Perverse, obstinate. Look at that. When we tell you these people are the wicked, the nation of Edom, they were set up to be the wicked. This is what they do. All right? That's so sad. And these are children. A lot of them their own. Here we go, back to the video.
Along this ketchup and lettuce. First ingredient in the mayonnaise, soybean oil. That's the same as McDonald's, the same as everywhere. You can make mayonnaise in a culinarily impressive way with egg yolks and vinegar and salt, but all the restaurants, most of what you find in grocery stores is cheap garbage mayonnaise made with soybean oil as the first ingredient.
I will say I don't believe that Burger King stands alone with this mayonnaise. I think that most places you go, even probably your local deli, they're not making their own mayonnaise. They're taking it straight out of the jar.
Seed oils like soybean oil are industrially refined. They are highly processed, heated, ground up, degummed, extracted with hexane, and then distilled to remove all of the horrible flavors and rancid oils that are created in the process. If you've never seen videos of how seed oils are made, it's disgusting. And I think that's probably gonna be enough to convince you that you should not be eating these oils. What should you be eating instead? Good quality olive oil, butter, tallow. These are natural fats that humans have eaten forever. I didn't realize this, but my Whopper doesn't have cheese. So no Whopper is
cheese or
complete without cheese. What's in the cheese? This is American, quote, cheese. It can't actually legally be called cheese because it doesn't contain enough dairy to be called cheese. It's a cheese product. What's in
for something to be called a cheese product or any type of food product, it tells you that it's essentially a science experiment. It's not actual food. It's been man-made and created. So cheese product, or a, as McDonald's would call it, a product when eating their burger, it's not actual food.
Here, 11 ingredients. Cheese should not have 11 ingredients. It should have 2 ingredients, right? It should have milk and cultures. What's in here? Artificial colors, soy lecithin, natamycin, which is an antifungal. When you're filling your gut full of antifungal compounds, this could definitely disrupt the delicate balance of your gut flora.
No.
We don't want to be eating antifungal compounds. Also, shredded cheese in the grocery store commonly contains natamycin. Not a good thing. And the reason they put it in here, because this is so highly processed and it sits on shelves so long that without it, you'll get moldy cheese. So there's my fake American cheese on there, and we have come to the worst part of the burger. You may not
Who's surprised there? I was actually surprised to hear that the worst part of the burger was actually the bun.
not believe it. The bun is actually the worst part. The bun contains many ingredients. About 40 ingredients go into this bun. There are multiple seed oils in this bun, and there is potassium iodate. What is potassium iodate? Well, it's potassium plus iodine. It's a salt of potassium and iodine. What's crazy about this is potassium iodate is banned in buns all over the world. The European Union, UK, Australia, Asia. Why? Because according to the FDA, Burger King can put up to 3 milligrams of potassium iodate in this bun. That's over 1,000 micrograms of iodine. And you might say, great, iodine's a nutrient. Yeah, but the RDA for iodine is 150 micrograms per day. You only need a little bit of iodine per day. 1,000 micrograms of iodine just in a bun? Well, nobody's gonna get hypothyroidism, but you might get hyperthyroidism. Too much iodine can be toxic to the thyroid gland. We don't know how many people are getting iodine overload from potassium iodate in buns used as a dough conditioner. That's pretty scary. You never think about these things, but this is the problem with ultra-processed food. A bun that has 40 ingredients is going to have ingredients that are harmful for you, hands down. The buns also contain azodicarbonamide, which is an ingredient found in yoga mats. What else is in the bun?
What?
Let me enumerate the hard to pronounce things. Calcium peroxide.
Yoga mat? So we're talking about a product that's made in a foam slab.
And for those of you that don't recognize that, a few years ago, this is what was found to be in Subway sandwich bread. This very same ingredient. That's when I first heard about it. And again, this is not just one particular franchise. Again, what's the motivation here? It's cost savings, all right? That dollar. And in the meantime, they're passing on crap to you and I. And let's face it, Jake ain't going to do the research on this. They're going to do what comes easy, you know? And again, who's going to suffer? The kids. And as they grow up, and it repeats that cycle, then they do feed their kids this bullshit. Why? Because, hey, no more patience. And like I say, they keep you running from pillar to post. You're trying to earn that money and pay those bills, not realizing that now you're into basically idol worship, because now you you idolize that dollar. And this was all pre-planned, and what I mean by that is these strategies were thought out. I know it was Nixon, during the Nixon administration, where in order to get Jake off of the community vibe, and it was a memorandum, I can't think of what it was, but this one here I'm going to look up, had to do with Kissinger, about the Fugacy, is it NSM or NVM 200? It was a memorandum. Let's see, National Security Study Memorandum 200, okay. Yep, also known as the Kissinger Report, is a 1974 U.S. classified document by the National Security Council, and analyzed how rapid population growth in developing nations threaten U.S. access to natural resources. Not the people whose resources that it is, but this threatens the U.S. access to natural resources and causes global political instability. These are some wicked, that's all I'm going to say, because I want to say so much more, but these are some wicked ass people. All right. Man. Core premise, rapid population increase. And that's what I was looking for earlier, because I downloaded a video of this guy. This is what he was talking about as far as what they're doing with the seeds. All right, and why you're not seeing seeds in produce anymore. It's because it's in order for them to control. All right, let's continue with this. Core premise: rapid population increase in less developed countries risks severe food shortages, civil unrest, and resource competition that could harm U.S. economic and security interests. And we know it's not just the U.S., and this is bullshit. This is a way or a means of them manipulating, and you better believe it's heavily manipulated. You know, what's going on over in Spain now, what's been going on in the African countries for the longest time. This is what they're doing, and then they live fat. And I'm talking about the European nations, all right. And meanwhile, what's going on in Haiti, a lot of that has to do with iridium. They've got mountains of that shit, all right. That should be one of the richest nations on the planet, and you wonder why those gangs are doing what they're doing, despite what the the media is going to tell you. You know, them people down there know what's going on. It's just, you know, you're talking about the curses, man. The French, after they defeated them in 1804, and then for the next 30 years or something like that, they had to pay back France because they didn't want to be their slaves. So, and you wonder why, you know, this is, oh man. But this is what happens. All right. And then you have countries like Saudi Arabia, they bend the knee to these, you know, these people, as you're seeing now with the war in Iran. And I've always thought that family had been infiltrated by Edomites a long time ago, especially after the death of King Fahd. Because he didn't go for that shit. So he had to go, and he died under questionable circumstances. All right, key recommendations: promoted global population control and family planning programs, i.e. Planned Parenthood, etc., targeting 13 populous developing countries to protect future access to strategic. All this in order to... Wow. To protect future access to strategic raw materials and minerals. So they don't give a fuck about the people. Never did. And they're so, well, so I would say used to be so good at propping up leaders to benefit them. All right, they didn't give a damn about their own people. The best example I can use is Patrice Lumumba and who they propped up after him. And this was the U.S.'s doing, along with Belgium and maybe a couple other nations. But those were the main actors. Probably, I would imagine Israel had to do something with that too. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Status. Commission under Richard Nixon. Adopted as official policy via NSDM 314 by President Gerald Ford in '75. And fully declassified in 1989. All right. And that's just, man, I wish I could think of the thing with Nixon. I'm trying to figure out how to word that in order to search. Let's see. Nixon. Well, that's not important for this video. That'll be another video. But yeah, back to the video. These are some demonic, you know, I'm so glad to see them finally falling, you know. This is crazy.
Rubber mat used for exercise. That's strange.
It's a dough bleaching agent, mono and diglycerides, which can dissolve the mucus layer of your gut. That's not good for you. They act like a soap. There's also Datem, D-A-T-E-M, which is dough conditioner that people have concerns about. The list is so long, guys. You get the idea. I'll put the list here of what's in this bun. You can read it yourself. At this point, you should realize 85 ingredients, very few of which your great-grandmother would recognize. That's what's in a Whopper.
In a bun.
That's just frankly scary.
85 ingredients in a Whopper alone. When you think about it, there's a bun, there's a sauce, there's a burger, there's cheese product, there's pickles, there is lettuce, tomatoes, and onion. So there are 8 different items inside of a Whopper, but 80 ingredients in those 8 individual items. Doesn't sound healthy.
Let's move on to the spicy royal chicken sandwich. This guy, let's see what's in there. This guy looks special. I've done 3 videos in this series, guys. The first one, McDonald's, has over 5 million views. Chick-fil-A, and this is the 3rd video in this series. And of all of those videos I've done, this spicy royal chicken sandwich from Burger King has the most ingredients. 120 ingredients between the bun, the sauces, the chicken, the breading. That's crazy. There's no way that that is good for you as a human. Let's break it down. So what's crazy about this is there are 3 different sauces. There's a mayonnaise, a royal sauce, and a spicy glaze. I don't quite know how that works, but I'm pretty sure this is the royal sauce or the spicy glaze right here. And you know this chicken is not fully real chicken. We'll get into that. And there are multiple layers of breading on here with flour and oils and emulsifiers and gums. But the spicy glaze sauce contains multiple different types of seed oils. Again, cue the clip of how seed oils are made. Here's the deal. Burger King and multiple other fast food restaurants used to do partially hydrogenated oils. That's a trans fat. Those are banned. So how do they get around this? They use fully hydrogenated soybean oil and regular seed oils. This is called an interesterified oil. They're mixing a fully hydrogenated oil and a regular seed oil. The problem here is that there are studies showing that when you eat these interesterified oils, they can mess up your metabolism. They can cause a rise in fasting glucose up to 20%, and they can decrease insulin secretion. That's what you call a metabolic nightmare. So these oils are simply not good for humans. They're nothing we would have ever eaten, and that is why we're becoming fat, sick, and unhealthy. But that's just...
This is important. Like, he's talking about how these oils are what are so bad. These are man-made oils. They're not naturally produced like an olive oil or even like a butter. So utilizing foods that are more naturally made and less of a science experiment are going to be more healthy for you to eat.
The beginning. Next, you've got the royal sauce. The royal sauce has 25 different ingredients. With maltodextrin, sugar, multiple natural flavors, xanthan gum, which is another thickening gum, which could potentially be harmful for the gut. You've got the mayonnaise, which is going to have more seed oils in it. And then you've got the chicken breading. So what's in the chicken breading? There's 3 different coats of batter on this thing, each of them with multiple flours and leavening agents. Again, just longer and longer and longer lists. You do have a few things in here that are actually single ingredients though. You've got one tomato slice, the other one might have fallen out. You've got a little bit of lettuce amidst the royal sauce, the mayonnaise, and the...
And even with your modern tomatoes, depending on where you get them from, all right, they're not telling you, they introduced, I think it was fish genes. So they've been altered in order to retain more water or something like that so they can last longer on the shelf. It came out years ago.
Spicy chicken glaze, but here, let's look on the bottom part here. You can see the mayonnaise, the glaze. Let's rip open this chicken and see what's in here.
It honestly is sounding, as of right now, that this is an even more unhealthy choice than getting a Whopper.
Good news is that I think that's actually real chicken. The bad news is that you're not going to get that real chicken without going through all of this breading full of starches, modified food starches, leavening agents, fried in seed oils with multiple different types of flour. I've channeled my 6-year-old self and ripped apart this food and made my hands incredibly dirty. I feel like I'm finger painting now. I got to clean my hands off and we're going to move on to fries. I have cleansed my hands and now we're on to the fries. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they taste amazing and they're beautiful.
For me, I actually prefer Burger King's fries over McDonald's fries. Although it's probably been over a year since I've had them, they just always seemed a little bit more crispy to me.
But these are not health promoting for humans. And I think that these are the type of things, along with all the other foods that I'm showing you here, that have created the health epidemic in America. So 17 ingredients, what could possibly be in here? Multiple different seed oils. The problem is that when you heat seed oils, as if they weren't bad enough to begin with, with all of the oxidation of the oil, with the processing of the oil. When you heat seed oils, they become oxidized, rancid, and or rusted very quickly. So these are cooked in very rancid oil. I've asked Burger King, I've asked In-N-Out, I've asked McDonald's, how often do you change your fryer oil? They change the fryer oil once a week. So who knows when the fryer oil for these fries were last changed? But these fries are cooked in seed oils that have been fried in oils for 16 plus hours a day for 6 to 7 days. And furthermore, to prove to you guys, these are nothing more than a science experiment that should never be eaten by humans. They also contain the ingredient dimethylpolysiloxane, which is a key component of silly putty. The ingredients in this silly putty, the dimethylpolysiloxane, is used in the fryer oil for the French fries. This is an anti-foaming agent. You're eating it in your French fries, and you're eating it in your deep fried chicken sandwich. So what I should do is I should take the silly putty, just wrap French fry in the silly putty, and that is essentially what you are eating at Burger King with your French fries.
I'm noticing right here that he's not actually eating any of these things. So he knows how bad these are. He's not even interested in taking a bite to take a taste. He just knows that it's stuff he'd rather not consume.
But we're not done yet. Let's
No,
talk
we're
about
not.
the
The
chocolate
drinks.
shake first. 19 ingredients in here, many of which you would expect. There's milk, there's cream, there's sugar, which is usually high fructose corn syrup. But there are two ingredients that stand out in here that are a big problem. The first of these is propylene glycol. This is a food grade form of ethylene glycol, and both of these are used as de-icers and antifreezes. So ethylene glycol is antifreeze. Propylene glycol is used as a de-icer for plane wings and for RVs. Propylene glycol is not necessarily known to be harmful for humans, but why would you want to eat a de-icer? It's just more proof that this is a science experiment. The last ingredient in here is something that actually really worries me and can very much damage your gut. It's called carrot.
America has, in itself, has been a science experiment. Wow.
Carrageenan. It's a very long word that's difficult to spell, but there are multiple studies, including this one from 2024, that show that carrageenan and its breakdown products like polygenin, which are shorter fragments of this sulfated polysaccharide, can be directly inflammatory to the gut. Most of this research is in animal models, but there is research in humans, and there is growing concern that carrageenan and polygenin, which occurs naturally as carrageenan breaks down in foods, are inflammatory to your gut. Though this food tastes delicious, you don't feel good afterwards, you're irritable, you don't sleep well, and most Americans are fat, sick, and unhealthy. It's really too much, guys. And last but not least, we've got the high C Freezy. It's now melted. Outside, I promised you the strawberry Freezy, but the high C Freezy also has red 40 in it. I said there was a dye in here that's banned in California. That's red 40. It's linked with behavioral issues in kids. Throughout this video, you've probably heard children screaming. There are a few kids in here having behavioral issues because if they're in Burger King, they're eating this and they probably have behavioral issues potentially related to the foods they're eating. This is crazy to me.
That's potential. I wouldn't go as far as saying that the kids in the shop right now are having behavioral issues. Maybe they're excited, maybe they're playing. Or maybe they are actually having behavioral issues because he's sitting there and I'm not. I don't see what's happening. But it's not surprising for me to hear in a Burger King or a McDonald's, especially ones with play sets, that kids would be there having some fun.
Why are we feeding our children food dyes that are known to be linked to increased attention issues, ADHD, and behavioral problems? Those of you who are parents have probably seen this. Your kids might be well behaved sometimes. When you take them to Burger King or you give them junk food, they turn into misbehaved humans. And that is a problem. And it certainly may be related to the food additives. So why is red 40 still legal in other states? I don't know. Maybe you're an adult and you're eating these things and you like this and you think, I don't feel so good after I eat this. I have trouble focusing at work. My attention span is off. I'm irritable. It certainly could be the food dyes like red 40 in here, which are problematic for humans. Both of these contain large amounts of processed sugar, things like pure sucrose, but the cheaper option is high fructose corn syrup. And if you're familiar with high fructose corn syrup, I don't need to tell you that there are many, many studies linking this with worsened glucose tolerance, increased insulin resistance, and all sorts of problems in the human body. In contrast to processed sugars like sucrose, table sugar, and high fructose corn syrup, fruit and honey do not cause inflammation in the human body. They do not worsen diabetes. There are multiple studies showing that when you eat an apple or even cloudy orange...
Doesn't the scriptures call honey the chief of sweet things? Hold on. let's get that real quick. All right. Let's go to Ciroc. 11 and 3. The bee is little among such as fly, but her fruit is the chief of sweet things. How about that? And like he just said, it doesn't cause all of this disruption or might as well say disease in the body. All right, it doesn't cause any of that. Amazing. And this is why, all right, these people you have to understand, I'm talking about the elites and their underlings, for the longest time have had a plan. This is plan A. I just read you that 1974 NSM memorandum having to do with Kissinger. And, you know, these people had a plan to depopulate on the sly for the longest time. They destroyed that monument down in Georgia, the Guidestones, because they don't need it no more. All right, and you know, these people that keep calling us conspiracy theorists and all that, well, you know, keep on. All right, but all this is connected. Remember, we tell you that all roads lead to the MOTB. This is all part of it. All right. I wish I had found that video. It was a short video that I could play that would go nice with this, but I can't. He was just telling you more or less what should be obvious really right now, what their plan all along was. All right, but let's finish this out.
Orange juice, fresh squeezed orange juice, your glucose tolerance improves. You are more insulin sensitive. There's decreased inflammation. There is decreased oxidation in the human body with naturally occurring sugar and the compounds that occur in fruit and honey. So, simple solution. You can drink fresh squeezed orange juice or have milk with honey, especially raw organic honey, and that is going to affect your body completely differently than a high C orange freezy or a chocolate milkshake from Burger King. So
now let's be honest for a second. The home remedies versions of these drinks that he was sharing just don't seem as appetizing, right? When he breaks down
and
this
they
food,
know this,
how gross it is. It also,
and they know this. All right, the appeal, especially when it comes to children. You know, all these advertisements you're bombarded with on a daily. All right. In fact, many, many, many times in a day. All right. That's all by design. All right. Marketing in itself is when you really look at it, is a form of witchcraft. All right. The psychology behind all this, it's witchcraft.
Also doesn't look appetizing, but when you think about an Oreo shake, it just sounds so delicious. A lot better than milk with honey in it, right? But really, what's being said here that's truly important is when you eat things that are more natural from the earth, like having an apple, a piece of fruit, a piece of meat that hasn't been processed, or things like that, they're going to be positive. They're going to be better for your body. But once you start eating things that have been man-made and modified by science, things are going to get a lot more unhealthy for your body.
There is an easy way to have something sweet that is much healthier for humans. It makes so much sense from an evolutionary context as well. As I promised you at the beginning of this video, let's think about this. How could you make these things at home? Potatoes minus the silly putty dressing. You can make that at home. Get some potatoes, cut them up, put them in the oven with a little bit of tallow and salt. A chicken sandwich. You can buy a chicken breast. You can grill it. You can cook it in a pan. Don't cook it in seed oils. Cook it in tallow. You can add real cheese to it. You can make a sourdough bun with 3 ingredients. You can add lettuce and tomato. You can make a chicken sandwich like this. You can use a spicy homemade sauce with jalapeno peppers and natural olive oil easily. You can make spicy food like this in a much healthier manner. You can make a Whopper at home. High quality bun, lettuce, tomato, real cheese, a burger that is cooked on a grill that doesn't have canola oil in the salt and pepper seasoning. You see where I'm going with all this, guys? And I'm going to say something strongly. Making all this at home would be cheaper. Is it going to take more time? Yes. Are you disciplined enough
See, that's
to
what I
make
was
your
saying.
own food? Because that will pay massive dividends long term.
And that's the question that we could ask ourselves. Do we have the time? Do we have the energy? Or do we have the desire to lead healthier lives, creating these foods on our own from more natural sources, things that weren't man made? We have to be careful with things like when we're still buying ourselves buns from the store, we need to make sure that they're high quality and that they're not the lower quality ones, which tend to be a bit more expensive as well. But Burger King, is it as bad as McDonald's or maybe worse? If you want to see the entire series of all fast food, you could check out this playlist right here, and I'll see you guys over there.
So there you go. I mean, like I say, it's so
The fast
sad.
food industry is
Like he was saying there at the end, what it boils down to is discipline. And everybody's got, issues with that, especially in, modern times. But again, it comes to, usually and sadly, usually a person is forced into this sort of lifestyle because of, an illness that's what caused that illness, be it diabetes or whatever, uh, because you've eaten a lot of this crap over the years. All right, and now you're forced to eat healthy. All right, sad but true. But hey, this place is in it. All these other countries mainly ban whatever. A lot of the stuff that the U.S. is like, we ain't worried about that, and that should cause more people to worry. And you see a lot more in comments or various articles or videos where people are just pointing out the wickedness of America more and more. And yeah, it's like finally, huh? Why? Mostly because it's affecting them now. What Jake has been going through for years. Nobody complained. Uh, uh, you know, well, don't have your kids eat out so much. And, all this, and now that they're catching it, hey, now something's got to be done. But again, this is prophecy happening right in your face. All right. So, let's get one more here because when we go to Daniel, a perfect example of this in resistance. Let's see. Where are you at? I don't use this particular. There we go. And it's in the first chapter. All right. With the king's meat and all that. Let's go to verse 8. All right. It says, but Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. All right. So those things that the heathen that would eat, that were usually unclean and forbidden to the Israelites, but even some of the clean animals that were offered to the heathens' gods. This is why we say pray over everything that you eat. But he was making a point, and it turned out that, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is where it is. It turns out that after a certain time, when they say, well, by comparing themselves with those that did eat the king's meat, and what they would eat was pulse, which is basically, your greeneries, all right, and they look so much healthier for it, all right. It's at 10 days, and the pulse, all right. All right, Strong's H2235. All right, Zerai. All right, vegetables. There you go. Straight and to the point. All right, because the thing, like most everything, like he was pointing out, a simple potato, and they got all this in the French fries, you know, uh, the seed oils and all that, you know. Like he said at the end there, just, and I was looking at, ironically, I was looking at one of these machines to make, you know, your fried. You can cut your potatoes. They got the electronic one, which I don't want that. I want the manual one. I was just looking at that yesterday. All right, so with that, once again, this has been Echo TV, and it says you will never eat Burger King again. You know, there's only certain select places I will go to, and none of them are anything like this. All right, I tend to, when I find a good place, I stick with that. All right, or do it at home, which is what I'm in the process of doing right here. So with that, once again, I hope whoever views my video here, I hope they've been edified. That's what we aim to do here at Great Millstone overall. Filter everything through the scriptures, all right, especially now, so you'll know and you can see, all right, and relate these to the prophecies that are happening, all right, because they are, whether you notice them or not, they are happening. All right, we're just out there trying to break it all down to you. And I also need to remind you to keep your eyes and ears open, all right, because more and more we're in a time where they're saying that, you know, you're warning of your diesel, and that is kind of important because so many things are transported with that. So if that goes, oh man, it's the beginning of chaos here, because now your goods can't be shipped. All right, so with that, once again, till next video, hey, shalom.